The city was laid out as a square, its length equal to its breadth. The angel measured the city with a rod, and it was 12,000 stadia in length and breadth and height. He measured its wall, and this was 144 cubits high. According to the human measure he used, Revelation chapter 211,617. Modern science confirms what our ancestors already knew. The architecture of the universe. Nature is based on some key numeric proportions we can see on all levels of scale, from the atoms and DNA, through patterns and blueprints of life, all the way to solar system and galaxies. Note the New Jerusalem diagram is also known as the cosmological circle. The New Jerusalem diagram. Introduction. The New Jerusalem diagram is the name given by the scholar of ancient law, John Michell. The original explanations in John Mitchell's books, especially the dimensions of Paradise, Thames and Hudson, 1986, to a geometrical construction that allows the squaring of the circle and the division of the circle to 28 equal sectors, a zodiac wheel, and the ceremonial positioning of the 12 tribes are constellations in a pattern of 4 camps at the 4 sides of the square. John Michell has reconstructed the geometric pattern of the heavenly city, which is the template of the New Jerusalem of Revelation chapter 21. He discovered that this diagram served as the design blueprint for many sacred sites, including the Stonehenge, the Great Pyramid, St. Mary's Chapel at Glastonbury, and the city of Magnesia in Plato's The Laws. The Great Pyramid, Earth and Moon fit the New Jerusalem diagram. It turns out that also the Nazca glyph called mandala, aka sun-star cross, perfectly matches the New Jerusalem diagram. Superimposed image of NJ diagram and mandala glyph near Nazca, Peru. It is no surprise that the NJ diagram matches blueprint for the Dome of the Rock, a shrine located on the Temple Mount in the Old City of Jerusalem. The Wheel of 28 Divisions is common to various esoteric systems and serves as representation for the schematic month, 4 weeks, 28 days. The solar calendar of the Dead Sea Scrolls sect was of 364 days, which is a multiple of 28 times 13,364. In many Sufi diagrams, including in the ceiling of the dome at the Al-Aqsa Mosque, not the Dome of the Rock at the Temple Mount, there appears the motif of the wheel made of 28 divisions. Al-Aqsa, the resplendent ceiling of the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The mosque, one of Islam's most holy sites, sits near the Dome of the Rock and above the Marwani Mosque, aka Solomon's Stables. Image source credit. The NJ diagram is also hinted and enfolded according to Mitchell, in the description of the Holy City, the New Jerusalem, whose descent from heaven concludes the Christian Bible. Below we present 3D version of the New Jerusalem diagram. Is it possible the 3D NJ diagram was used as a blueprint for the crown jewels? Perhaps this is a case of a secret hidden in plain sight. Adnamid sense 160 by 600_orange. The collective term crown jewels denotes the regalia and vestments worn by the sovereign of the United Kingdom during the coronation ceremony and at other state functions. The term refers to the following objects: the crowns, scepters with either the cross or the dove, orbs, swords, rings, spurs, colobium cindonus, dalmatic, armil, and the royal robe or pall, as well as several other objects connected with the ceremony itself. The crown jewels have a religious and sacral connotation. Their hidden symbolism seems to be related to the sacred geometry of the New Jerusalem diagram. The construction of the New Jerusalem diagram. The construction of this diagram starts with the attempt to square the circle by drawing a circle and a square that have the same circumference. So in building this sacred diagram, one starts with a circle with a diameter of 22 units, and blocks it with a square of 22 by 22 units, like the number of the Hebrew letters, with which supposedly heaven and earth were made. Then one draws from the same center an additional circle whose diameter is 28 units, the perfect number that is already the number of the letters in the first verse of Genesis, and marks the circle of the seasons. The circle with diameter 28 has circumference of pi x 28, which is as noted 227 by 2888, just the circumference of the square with edges of 22 and circumference thus 2 by 2288. The circle and the square have the same circumference, and they intersect in 8 points, where the square juts out of the circle in 4 vertices. The building of the complete pattern continues with the drawing of 12 circles with diameter of 6 units, the number of letters in the first word of Genesis, Bereshit, as the first perfect number. The centers of these 12 circles are situated on the outer big circle, whose diameter is 28, and they touch a tangent to the inner circle, whose diameter is 22. 4 of these circles are situated according to the points where the square is tangent to the inner circle, and the other 8 circles are placed according to the 8 points of intersection between the square and the outer circle. There are two amazing consequences of this construction. This construction squares the circle. It divides the circle into 28 equal segments. It reflects ratio 227, which is good approximation of the pi. It reflects golden ratio 1.618. It reflects the ratio of 226, which issues theoretical geometrical considerations is also the exact real ratio between the diameter of the Earth and the diameter of the Moon. There are many more features of the NJ diagram which will be presented in our upcoming articles, e.g. amazing connection with Teotihuacan. The New Jerusalem diagram in the Bible. The NJ diagram was known to the sages of ancient times, including the Magi of ancient Egypt. It was also employed by the Hebrew, Abraham, along with certain magical letter operations. The New Jerusalem diagram is already implied by the number of the letters pattern in the first verse of Genesis 28, 22 and 6. This diagram indicates, first and foremost, the image of the camping of the 12 tribes around the tabernacle. This diagram, which is relevant for the tabernacle and the future temple, is already enfolded in the first verse of Genesis. The same three numbers of the letters of the first verse of Genesis 6, 22 and 28, and the number of its words, namely 7, are the very components of the New Jerusalem diagram. In the first verse Genesis, made of 7 Hebrew words and 28 letters, it says Bereshit bara Elohim Hashemayim vet hara. In these words is hinted the secret of geometry, namely of measuring the earth of heaven and earth. In the ancient world, the sky was considered a circle, a dome, and the earth as a square or a cube. The desired harmony between heaven and earth was conceived as a geometric riddle of harmonizing the circle and the square, as well as between the cube and the dome. The problem with squaring the circle is that the square represent rational relations between its components, that is, they divide into the rational between whole and finite numbers, whereas the circle represents irrational relations. The ratio between its elements, the circumference and the diameter, is infinite and is expressed by the symbol pi 3.141592665. It is therefore impossible to draw a square and a circle that have exactly the same circumference or area. Yet there is a rational approximation that is good enough for a drawing or a physical construction, the approximation of 227 greater than pi. With this approximation, the circumference of a square whose length and its breadth are 22 units 22 times 488 equals the circumference of a circle whose diameter d is 28 units dx pi 28 x 227 88. What is striking is that these numbers 28, 7 and 22 are hinted and enfolded in the first verse of Genesis. The first story of Genesis, world of creation version of Bereshit, the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, King James Version 1. In the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. 2. And the earth was without form, and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. 3. And God said, Let there be light, and there was light. 4. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. 6. And God said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. 7. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. 8. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. 9. And God said, Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. 10. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas, and God saw that it was good. 11. And God said, Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself, upon the earth, and it was so. 12. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself, after his kind, and God saw that it was good. 13. And the evening and the morning were the third day. 14. And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and years. 15. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so. 16. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. 17. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. 18. And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness, and God saw that it was good. 19. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. 20. And God said, Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. 21 And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly, after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind, and God saw that it was good. 22 And God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. 23 And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. 24 And God said, Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle, and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind, and it was so. 25 And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and God saw that it was good. 26 And God said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. 27 So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. 28 And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. 29 And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. 30 And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. 31 And God saw everything that he had made, and, behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. About the creation as divine utterance, it is plainly stated in the book of Genesis that all the creation of the 6 days was performed through divine utterances, whose number is 10. 1. Let there be light, and God saw that it was good. 2. Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide waters from water. 3. Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together to one place, and let the dry land appear, and God saw that it was good. 4. Let the earth bring forth grass, herb yielding seed, and fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself, upon the earth. 5. Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And God saw that it was good. 6. Let the waters swarm abundantly with moving creatures that have life, and let birds fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God saw that it was good. 7. Let the earth bring forth living creatures after their kind, cattle, and creeping things, and beasts of the earth after its kind, and God saw that it was good. 8. Let us make mankind in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. 9. Be fruitful, and multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it. 10. Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, on which there is the fruit yielding seed, to you it shall be for food. And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for food. The 6 letters inside the first word, Bereshit. The first word is made of 6 letters, the first one of which is accentuated. The word Bereshit is divided, as already noted in the Tikkun Zohar, to 2 words bara, shit, namely created. 6 shit is in Aramaic 6. This is the beginning of the building of the cosmos in 6 days. The ancient symbol for orderly building, for cosmos, is the perfect cube, which has 6 faces. The cubic pattern expresses sanctity both in Judaism, the form of the Holy of Holies, and of the phylacteries; in Christianity, the cube of the New Jerusalem at the ending of the Christian Bible; and in Islam, the Kaaba. The Pythagoreans saw in the number 6 the first perfect number, because the sum of the numbers it is divided by 1, 2 and 3 equals the number itself, 1236, and regarded these numbers as the secret of the perfect creation. It seems that the author of the book of Genesis wanted to start the account of creation with such a perfect number. The scribes of the Torah conceived of the creation as a building process with 6 stages as a perfect number. Each creation day is likened to a face of a cube. Each face in its turn connects with the former ones, so that the third day, the third face of the cube, already adds a dimension of volume, whereas the 6th day, the 6th face, closes the cube and forms inner space. The accent point in the bait is the clue for the 7th element, to the conscious center that is nested within the 6-sided cube. The whole sentence contains 7 words combinations of letters and confirms the principle of 7, the Sabbath. The 7 words and 28 letters in the first verse of Genesis. The first sentence of the Torah is made of 7 words in the language of the sages Tevet, boxes in which there are 28 letters. In the language of Sefer Yerah, these are 7 houses Beitim built from 28 stones. Avanim. These 2 numbers are not random numbers, but are very intentional. The 7 words correspond to the pattern of the 7 days of creation, which are enumerated in the first creation story, which issues from this sentence. But there is reason to note that the number 28 is the second perfect number. The number 28 is divided by 1, 2, 4, 7 and 14, whose sum is 28. Moreover, these 2 numbers, the 6 corresponding to the number of letters of the first word, and the 28 corresponding to the number of the letters in the first sentence of Genesis, comprise the sum of the biblically most important primary numbers 3 and 7. Thus the first 3 numbers 123:6, whereas the first 7 1,234,567:28. Therefore it is appropriate to start the account of the creation by the perfect creator with these 2 perfect numbers. Source article by Yitzhak Hayatman. While Mecca might have been a very marginal place at the time, other Muslim investigators have shown an objective global significance to the Meccan position, or at least the latitude of Mecca has significance inasmuch as the distance between the North Pole and the Meccan latitude, say A, and the distance of this latitude and the South Pole B have the golden section relation BA phi. According to Sabé's calculations, Mecca is on the right latitude, but a bit to the west, and Medina a bit to the east of the ideal line directing to Jerusalem. Abraham's construction of the New Jerusalem diagram. The squaring of the circle through this construction is based on the approximation of 227 for the irrational ratio, pi, between the circumference and the diameter of the circle. In enacting this construction, first is drawn an inner circle with a diameter of 22 units. This circle is enclosed by a square, the 4 sides of which are 22 units long, and its perimeter is thus 88 units long. Now is drawn an additional circle, with a center coinciding with the center of the inner circle and a circumference equaling the perimeter of the enclosing square. The diameter of this circle is 28 units. The circumference of that circle is 28 by 227/88, and thus equal to the perimeter of the square that encloses the inner circle. The symbolic meaning of this ritual of squaring the circle is to equalize and mediate between the masculine, the measured and rational, and the feminine, the natural that circles and recurs. In this generic pattern of squaring the circle, the square and outer circle cut at 8 points that mark 4 wide sectors in which the circle protrudes beyond the square and 4 narrow sectors where the corners of the square protrude beyond the circle. The 4 centers of the wide sectors and the 8 crossing points mark reference points for placing 12 small circles of diameter 6 units each, so that their centers lie on the outer circle diameter 28, and they touch the inner circle diameter 22 units. There form thereby 4 groups of 3 circles along the 4 sides of the square. In this manner, the outer circle, whose diameter is 28 units, is divided to 28 practically equal sections. Each such section will have 36,028 12.86 degrees, or nearly 13 degrees, and each of the surrounding circles will have a sector of nearly 26 degrees. In the application of this diagram in the Great Pyramid, when the square coincides with the base of the pyramid, the width of the pyramid corresponds to the diameter of the inner circle and the height of its summit is exactly at the outer circle. While this is a purely abstract symbolic geometrical construction, we know that the ratio between the diameter of the inner circle and the diameter of the small surrounding circles built upon it happens to be exactly the ratio between the mean diameter of the Earth and the diameter of the Moon. The diagram thus gives us an image of the 12 moons months of the year arrayed in 4 groups like the eventual order of the 12 tribes around the tabernacle. Abraham was carrying with him the principles of the heavenly order, and he was searching for the appropriate site where to place the pattern of this order. He was searching for the site for the universal temple for sanctifying the earth and for renewing healing humankind. Recall that Abraham, the Hebrew, is described in the Sefer Yerah as the one who dealt with the magical combinations of the 22 Hebrew letters. We may therefore surmise that at every site that he reached on his journeys, Abraham would conduct a magical ritual and draw upon the ground a magic circle with a diameter of 22 units, the number of letters in the Hebrew alphabet by which heaven and earth were presumably created, and encloses it by a square of 22 times 22 units. Inasmuch as this square could represent the base of the pyramid, it marks the base of a virtual cube which the Muslims allude to as the heavenly Kaaba. This now begs the contemplation of a 3D cube of letter combinations 22 letters high, marking a mirror 22 by 2,210,648 of cubical cells that contains all the Hebrew three-letter word roots. This would be a representation of the Midbar, or that could be said, in fact, a representation of the mouth of God Hashem at the kingdom of the name. Thus at every place that he drew his magic square, Abraham places a possible base for the temple of Hashem upon earth. When Abraham draws the New Jerusalem pattern, he must draw an additional magic circle, a circle with a circumference equaling the perimeter of the enclosing square. The diameter of the requisite circle is 28 units, the perfect number which is already given in the number of letters in the first verse of Genesis and refers to the passage of time. As already noted, the ritual of circling the square is meant to encircle the masculine, that which is measured and marked by words. Words are used to recall, lihazkir, and masculine is zakar, and to find in it the natural and recurring quality, which is the feminine. When starting land surveying and mapping, it is necessary to fix a base point and a measured triangle. Egypt was certainly a center of the ancient world, and the site of the Great Pyramid must have been considered then as the center of the world. An independent Egyptian investigator who lives in Holland, Muhammad Sabbeh, has examined the relations between the vertices of the triangle made by the Great Pyramid at Giza, the Kaaba 11 at Mecca and Jerusalem. Sabbeh called it the Abraham Triangle and found several special characteristics, of which we shall mention here but 1. This is a right-angle 90 degrees triangle, and this right angle is at the Jerusalem vertex. 2. The direction of the axis from the Gayard Pyramid, the sides of which are precisely orientated to the four cardinal directions, is at about 26 degrees north-left of the west-east axis. It continues to the deep center of Asia at the Altai region between Russia, China and Mongolia. Interestingly, we find this direction of about 26 degrees built within the Great Pyramid in the rise of the Great Gallery built inside the pyramid and leading to the King's Chamber. Moreover, as we saw above, it is that angle of about 26 degrees that characterizes the New Jerusalem diagram that Abraham might have been utilizing. If he laid the pattern or had it shown to him by the Egyptian priests in Egypt, he would have noticed that the direction of 26 degrees north of the eastern direction is orientated back towards somewhere in the land of Canaan. The Abraham Triangle, contained within the New Jerusalem diagram, centered on Jerusalem source greater than secrets of Abraham's names. The original first name, Abram pronounced Avram, literally High Father, has gematria value of 243, which equals the fifth power of the number 3 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 by 3243. The raising of a number to the fifth power signifies its association with 5 dimensions 5D and 5D constructs. Thus 1 to the fifth power still remains 1, showing their unity of the 1 in all dimensions. 2 to the fifth power equals 32 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 32, the number of the wondrous paths of wisdom in God's created world according to the opening of Sefer Yerah, whereas the 5D world of Bria creation, which is associated with the Sephirah of wisdom Okma. We just noted 3 to the fifth power, and 4ab associated with plurality to the fifth power amounts to 1024 4 by 4 by 4 by 4 by 4 1024, which nowadays is considered as K from kilo, meaning thousand, that amounts to 1000 for most practical purposes. The higher dimensions may best be grasped by considering the 4D four-dimensional, and 5D hypercubes as products of integrations, similar to the integration of 4 1D line sections to make a 2D square and the integration of 6 2D squares to form a 3D cube. Likewise, we can imagine the integration of 8 3D cubes to form a 4D hypercube and the integration of 10 4D hypercubes to create a 5D hypercube. In the story of Noah, we saw that a virtuous and whole man could be packed in a box Teva ark with his entourage family and the biosphere sample, thus forming an assembly that may be represented by a 4D hypercube. This way, they escaped the destruction of the 3D scene, but could not save the rest of humankind. In the story of Abraham's negotiating the fate of the people of Sodom, we shall see that, with Abraham's 5D influence, 10 could have been counted to save the wicked city. The changing of the name from Abram Gematria 243 to Abraham Gematria 248 reveals new characteristics. The number 248 is product of two very significant numbers, 248 8 by 31. As noted, the 4D hypercube is the product of integrating 8 3D cubes, and see the Maharal's discussion of the 8 days of the Hanukkah. The number 88 is symbolic of the wondrous higher world. 248 is 1/2 of 496, which is the third perfect number. So with the shared change of names, of Abram to Abraham and of Sarai to Sarah, there forms a fruitful and perfected whole couple, and Abraham is the half of this perfection. Interestingly, the joint gematria value of Ishmael 451 and of Israel 541, the two of Abraham's seed who had 12 sons, equals 992, which is twice this perfect number and 4 times the number of Abraham. Notes: when we imagine cloning the 2D square and translating the clone in a direction perpendicular to its 2 dimensions, i.e. height to a distance equal to the length of its edges, there would form a cube made out of the initial square, the new square, and 4 scare faces formed between the 4 edges of the initial square and the 4 edges of the moved clone. The other edges of these square cube faces are formed by the 4 vertices of the cloned square as they trace the trajectories in the 3rd dimension. In a similar fashion, cloning a 3D cube and moving it to the length of the cube edges, but in an imagined 4th dimension perpendicular to the 3 space dimensions, will result in a 4D hypercube made out of the original cube and the translated cloned cube, along with connected 6 cubes created by the movement of the 6 square faces of the cube in the perpendicular 4th dimension. And again, in a similar fashion, cloning and moving the 4D hypercube in a perpendicular 5th dimension will yield a 5D hypercube made of the initial and cloned 4D hypercubes, along with 8 new 4D hypercubes formed from the 8 3D cubes contained in the 4D hypercube as they move to connect with the 8 3D cubes contained in the cloned 4D hypercube. Point 2. A perfect number is equal to the sum of all its divisors here: 1 2 4 8 1 6 3 1 6 2 1 2 4 2 4 8 4 9 6. Such numbers are very rare. Only 4 or 5 of them were known in the ancient world. Even with all present computer power, we know only about 30 of them. Beyond John Mitchell's diagram, Mitchell's New Jerusalem diagram, which is the reconstruction of the heavenly city, jlihi.comp18.html, beginning with the Pythagorean triangle of sides 3, 4, and 5. The large square 11 times 11 in this diagram is constructed such that the circumference of the circle cutting across its sides, the circle of Mitchell's heavenly city, is, if pi 227, a length 44, 14 times 227, identically the length of the perimeter of the square 44. The diameter of the outermost circle, the circle enclosing the 12 lunar circles, is 17. The diameter of the circle inscribed in the square, the Earth circle, is 11. The diameter of the circle inscribed in the 4 triangles is 5.5. The diameter of the circle nearest the center of the diagram, the 13th moon, is 3. The point at the center of the diagram is taken to be a central dot, relative value 0.0333, surrounded by a circular space, relative value 0.2, either of which is understood to represent the pole of the universe, passing vertically through the center of the diagram. As here illustrated, the whole figure is enclosed by a 12-sided polygon, corresponding to the sum of the sides of the Pythagorean triangle, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. The product of 3 times 4 times 5, 60. 1 2 6 0 7 2, while 12 times 60,720, the original dimensions of the diameters. 0333, 0.2, 5.5, 11, 14, and 17, multiplied by 720 yield 24, 144, 2,160, 3,960, 7,920, 10,080, and 12,240, where 7,920 corresponds, on an adjusted scale, to the 12,000 furlongs times 660 feet, side of the New Jerusalem square. This New Jerusalem diagram fits neatly into the plan of the heavenly worlds as revealed to her in Plato's Republic, in the order given by Plato and proportioned in accordance with the values of the musical sequence, 6, 8, 9, 12, 18, 24, 27, and 36, as here illustrated, where the total diameter 1036836,288. The total diameter of the first 3 rings 34 times 268 times 180, 12240, the total diameter of the New Jerusalem diagram, while that of first 2 rings 22 times 244 times 180, 7920, the diameter of the circle inscribed in the large square of the New Jerusalem diagram. Now the truly remarkable fact is that in the whole of Mitchell's analysis of the geometrical pattern of the heavenly city, indeed, no doubt because of the fact that in the whole history of the appearance of the pattern from Stonehenge to Glastonbury there is no appearance of such an element, nowhere is it noticed that there is one fundamental element missing from the pattern these thousands of years, viz., the unmarked circle in which the 11 times 11 all multiplied by 720. 7,920 times 7,920 square is implicitly inscribed, as here illustrated, where the green circle is the missing circle. The diameter of this missing circle is sqrt2 times 1115.55634919 and multiplied by 720. 11,200,571,428. If for the diameter 15.55634919 is substituted, the L series value 15.5 cf. Leahy, Foundation, Section IV.2, pp. 519 ff. Then the sequence of the diameters of the major circles of the New Jerusalem diagram, including the missing circle, is 11, 14, 15.5, and 17, and the L series partial sums for these values are S 11.7511 to 11 to 5.593.5, S 14.7514 to 14,157.5, S 15.5.75 15215, 8, 188, and S 17.7517 to 1728.5 221. The sum of this sequence of L-series partial sums is exactly 660, the multiple of 12,000 furlongs, which produces the 7,920,000 unit side of the New Jerusalem square, and exactly 10 times the sum of all the whole number diameters of circles within the diagram: 3, 5.5, 11, 14, 15.5, 17, 66. 8. The cubic number times 15.556349119 times 1832. This last the transcendental constant, P1, 5 ccf. Leahy, Foundation, Section 3.5 228,096, exactly the total interior and exterior surface area of the triple absolute dead center cube cf, on this web, logically outfitted cubes. The sum of all of the first 1 billion natural numbers whose integral products are unit fractions of themselves, the denominators of which are primary digits of the number system other than 1 are 3 excluding 2,985,984 and 429,981,696, multiples of 82,944 cf. Leahy, Foundation, Section 3.7, is 47,536, which is, with a difference (3,1e4), the sum of all the whole number diameters of circles within the New Jerusalem diagram. See above, multiplied by 723 5.5 11 14 15.5 17 66 times 720 47520. In terms of the original, i.e., unadjusted, scale of 12,000 furlongs in Revelation chapter 21, this diameter would be 15,556.34919. Now, among the first 1 billion natural numbers there are only 8 whose integral products are either the first or third parts of themselves, that is, members of the classes to which belong, respectively, the uniquely related numbers, 82,944 and 27,648. The sum total of these 8 numbers is 124,451, so that the average value of the 8 15,556.375, with a difference approximately 1.71 times 10 to the 6th, the diameter of the missing circle of the New Jerusalem diagram, 124,451 is at once, with a difference (51e5), 10 times the circumference of the 1812 times 1e3 smaller circle, 5.5 times 227 times 720, 12,445.71485 inscribed in the 4 triangles, which, in turn, are inscribed in the circle twice its size, whose circumference 11 times pi 864,275 times 720 24,883.2 is exactly 0.3 times 82,944, that is, 0.3 times the absolute dead center number, and which is in turn inscribed in the New Jerusalem square, which latter is, again, in turn inscribed in the missing circle. Dead center cube. Note the shape of the New Jerusalem coming down out of heaven from God is a perfect cube. Revelation chapter 2116. The plan of the city is perfectly square, its length and its breadth equal. He measured the city with his rod, and it was 12,000 furlongs, equal in length and in breadth, and equal in height, 1,000. The absolute dead center cube, and NJCFD, the face diagonal of the New Jerusalem cube. Revelation chapter 2116. NJCFD 8,294,414 times 1,000 furlongs. The radius of the missing circle 7.7781745595, when the diameter is taken to be 15.556349119, is exactly 60,501,210, that is, 110th. The ratio of the side of the New Jerusalem square taken as 7,920 to the side of the square 101.8233765. Inscribed in the circular space which is the central shaft through which passes the pole of the Earth and universe, which latter square is the side of the absolute dead center cube, as here illustrated. The side of a cube, the square inscribed in the central shaft, the absolute dead center cube, first constructed in 1985 in the context of the elaboration of the logic of the essentially new thinking now actually occurring for the first time in history, fits perfectly, organically, and with absolute appropriateness into the place at the very center of the New Jerusalem diagram. The 136th part of its side 1036836-288 SQRT82944-316811, its central square, corresponding precisely to the square 16.97056275 times 16.97056275, inscribed in the central dot of the diagram inset, the area of which dot is the fundamental measure of the New Jerusalem diagram, 31,687 of 452.5711428, or 1 New Jerusalem unit. The diameter of the Earth circle inscribed in the square inscribed in the missing circle is 7,920, which, divided by 720, is the original 11. This 11 is effectively the value of the diameter 11 of the decagon formed by the double helix structure of the DNA molecule, which decagon is visible in the top-down view of the molecule. The ratio of the circumference of the circle in which the DNA decagon is inscribed, the circumference of the Earth circle divided by 720 to the circumference of the missing circle of the New Jerusalem diagram, is effectively 101.8233765, the edge of the absolute dead center cube. Sorcerer Edmore http://dgleahy.comp18.html Mr. D. G. Leahy discovered what he calls the dead center cube, which can be construed as any 3D cube in which the original face diagonal is divided into 144 units. Once designated, this cube is neatly positioned to serve as a mensural standard whereby its hypercubic fourth-dimensional relations can be uniquely understood, without delving into the mathematics revealed by Lay's treatment of the dead center cube. Unitary surface area 82,944, 8 times the face area. Suffice it to say that the existence of the dead center cube, which no one will deny, grounds the productive imagination and opens a neatly framed window into the fourth-dimensional world of hypercubes. Stated another way, hypercubes exist in nature in the same manner as time. Time is measured with simple geometric contrivances such as arrows or clock faces or spirals. The dead center cube is a simple real-life counterpart of a higher dimensional imaginary structure. If time exists, hypercubes exist. If time can be measured and imaged with simple geometric structures, so too can hypercubes. If the understanding, standardization and incorporation of time is important in everyday life, why not the analogous standardization of hypercubic space? Can you imagine such a thing? Concept of the dead center cube. Suppose we have a cube with edges of length x. We'll refer to this as a base cube, or by the letter c. This cube has volume x and surface areac. Since an xbyx cube has 6 xbyx sides, the volume to surface area ratio is then. Now we're going to construct two four-dimensional hypercubes. The first one, hypercube A, will have sides of length x6. The second, hypercube B, will have sides of length x. Hypercube A has hypervolume A, boundary volume A, since the hypercube has 8 hyperfaces, each with volume. Similarly, hypercube B has hypervolume A, boundary volume A. Now suppose that we wish to choose our base cube in such a way that hypervolume A volume A boundary volume B hypervolume A. Plugging in our formulae, we have cross-multiplying. This has precisely one positive solution for x, namely if we take our base cube C to have sides of this length, then we, and by we I mean D. G. Leahy and likely no one else, call this cube the absolute dead center cube. Unfolding 4D cube into 3D space and folding 3D cube into 2D plane results in a flat cross 3 squares across and 4 squares vertically, in total 6 squares since the middle square should be counted once. Unfolding 4D hypercube into 3D space results in 8 cubes. Image source greater than image source greater than DNA solar system. The average of the mean orbital distances of each successive planet in relation to the one before it approximates phi special numbers 82,944. The four fundamental forces. The God particle. This connects NJ with four fundamental forces and the God particle greater than also 91,234,567,892 1 times 784 times 82,944. The square of the quotient of factorial 9 divided by the sum of its constituents, the primary natural numbers, equals the product of the only three numbers in the natural number system which are, identically, their integral products. Measure beyond reach theorem. There is no natural number other than the absolute dead center. Hypercube volume 107,495,424 in the ratio 829,447,841 to its integral product. The writer notes that 1018 times 78,482,944 meters, approximately 9.46053 times 1015 meters 1 light-year Gregorian, where 829.6656 meters 1000 megalithic yards cf. Leahy, Foundation, p. 525, n. 99, 1018 times 78,482,944 times 829.6656 m784164 times 1015 meters 1 light-year Gregorian, accurate to 1 part in 1 million. Note also that Julian Gregorian light-year 9.460730 times 1015 meters 9.460528 times 1015 meters v Maxwell 132 accurate to 1 part in 1 million. Concerning the collective unconscious constant, which is any number when divided by the integer 37, creates the modulo decimal remainder 0.8918918991, which is the link to the finer structure constant 10 to the power of 143.99998793737 18 SQRT 137.035999701. There have been many numbers associated to the divisor 37 and the collective unconscious forms Lay's dream number, 0.2808 Van Halen's number, 0.5150 Hindu number, 0.18 Druid number, 0.144 Hebrew number, 0.288 John of Patmos number, 0.1260 and 666 Leahy triple logic number, 0.82944 Dengler's number as name, 0.1069 John Michel number, 0.1080666 1746 Mayan Aztec number, 0.2304 Artomes harmonic, 0.3456 etc. The key has always been the divisor number 37. Number 37. The following is from an article in the January 10, 2009, magazine, New Scientist, called Inside the Mind of a Autistic Savant. The article goes on to talk about the savant Daniel Tammet, who is a human calculator of whose one of many feats set a European record for the number of digits of pi he recited from memory, 22,514. The article interviewer, Celeste Beaver, interviewed D. Tammet, and here is a portion of her interview concerning the number 37 and D. Tammet's fascination with this particular number. Question: when did you realize you had special talents? Tammet: at the age of 8 or 9, I was being taught maths at school and realized I could do the sums quickly, intuitively and in my own way, not using the techniques we were taught. I got so far ahead of the other children that I ran out of textbooks. I was aware already that I was different because of my autism, but at that point I realized that the relationship I had with numbers was different. Question: to most people, the things you can do with your memory seems like magic. How do you do it? Tammet: the response that people often have to what I can do is one of gee whiz, but I want to push back against that. One of the purposes of the book I've written, Embracing the Wide Sky, is to demystify this, to show the hidden processes behind my number skills. I have a relationship with numbers that is similar to the relationship that most people have with language. When people think of words, they don't think of them as separate items, atomized in their head. They understand them intuitively and subconsciously as belonging to an interconnected web of other words. Question: can you give an example? Tammet: you wouldn't use a word like giraffe without understanding what the words neanderthal or animal mean. Words only make sense when they are in this web of interconnected meanings, and I have the same thing with numbers. Numbers belong to a web. When somebody gives me a number, I immediately visualize it and how it relates to other numbers. I also see the patterns those relationships produce and manipulate them in my head to arrive at a solution, if it's a sum, or to identify if there is a prime. Question: but how do you visualize a number? In the same way I visualize a giraffe. Tamit, every number has a texture. If it is a lumpy number, then immediately my mind will relate it to other numbers which are lumpy. The lumpiness will tell me there is a relationship, there is a common divisor, or a pattern between the digits. Question: can you give me an example of a lumpy number? Tamit, for me the ideal lumpy number is 37. It's like porridge. So 111, a very pretty number which is 3 times 37, is lumpy, but it is also round. It takes on the properties of both 37 and 3, which is round. It's an intuitive and visual way of doing maths and thinking about numbers. Question: why do you think you treat numbers this way? Tamit, when I was growing up, because of my autism, I didn't make friends. Numbers filled the gap. The numbers came alive. My mind was able to pick out patterns and to make sense of them. It was similar to how a child would acquire his first language. Question: what can we learn from the way your mind works? Tamit, the differences between savant and non-savant ability have been exaggerated. Savants are not freaks, cut off from the rest of humanity. The thinking of savants is an extreme form of the kind everyone has. The aim of my book is to show that minds that function differently, such as mine, are not so strange, and that anyone can learn from them. I also hope to clear up some misconceptions about savant abilities and what it means to be intelligent or gifted. End of article. Quote: Wolfgang Pauli knew through his Mandelas and the collective unconscious parameters of Carl Jung that the finer structure constant 1137.0359999701, a primal number, has a connectiveness to the primal numbers of man. This connectiveness number is the integer 0.37 Leahy dream number 0.2808 10 to the power of 2807.99998793772 SQRT 137.0359999701 Van Halen's number 0.5150 10 to the power of 5149.9999881 SQRT 137.0359999701 Hindu number 0.18 10 to the power of 107.999999879.37 to 288 666 SQRT 137.0359999701 Druid, John. Of Patmos number 0.144 10 to the power of 143.99998791937,666 SQRT 137.0359999701 John of Patmos numbers 0.1260 and 666 10 to the power of 1259.9997825466662 666 SQRT 137.0359999701 Lay's triple logic number 0.829444 10 to the power of 82,943.993041332,666,666 SQRT 137.0359999701 Plato's number of the world soul 0.2592 10 to the power of 2591.9999782546666 SQRT 137.0359999701 Dengler's name change number 0.1069 10 to the power of 1068.9999879923725 666 SQRT 137.0359999701 Mayan Aztec number 0.2304 10 to the power of 2303.999782546666666 SQRT 137.0359999701 Halston's Hunab number Aztec 0.378 378,288,666 Artome's master harmonic number 0.3456 10 to the power of 3,455.999789666 46 666 SQRT 137.03 135999701. The works of Jerry Giuliano. Ancient numbers revealed in scientific formula. http www.greatdreams.com. Numbers Index.html. Diagram and ancient metrology. Phi 2 by 65 pi square, 12 feet by 12 feet, has area 144 square feet, 144 feet 1728 inch, 12 inches per 1 foot. Cube 12 by 12 by 12 has volume 1728 cubic feet, 1728 feet 20,736, volume of a cube 65 1.2 1.728. Coincidentally, moon radius 1737 kilometers. Sun and moon observed from Earth appear to have size 30 arc minutes 0.5 degree. Full circle has 21,600 minutes 360 times 60, so the moon fits the full circle 720 times. One day has 24 hours 60 minutes in each hour, 1,440 minutes to one day, and 86,400 seconds to a day. Sun and moon moves by its diameter on the sky in 12 seconds 2 minutes 864,001,728 perfect cube numbers 1, 8, 27, 64, 125, 216, 343, 512, 729, 1000, 1331, 1728. The sixth number is 216. A 6 by 6 by 6 and sixth sphere on the tree of life is Sun, a Tifrath on Hebrew. 37th triangular number is 666. 3, 7, 10 or tetractys, tree of life. Number 666 in binary is 1,010,011,010, which contains 10 digits, or first 10 ideas in universal mind, the tree of life. In Mag=square Kamea of the Sun, all numbers are added in any direction to produce the sum of 111, and since there is 6 columns and lines, 111 by 6,666. In 1 Kings 10:14, Old Testament, there is a story of King Solomon receiving 666 coins of gold. Solomon is the name of sun in 3 languages. Word sol means sun in Latin, Om or Aum means sun in Hindu, Sanskrit, and On means sun in Egyptian. If we add up all numbers from 136, it will result in 666. 36 is sacred Pythagorean number of sun. King Solomon's seal is 6-pointed star, the hexagram. So, again, the number of the sun is 6 or 666. Carbon CO2, which is the chemical basis of all physical life on Earth, has 6 protons, 6 neutrons and 6 electrons. The shape of carbon molecules points to hexagram, the symbol of unity. The perfect cube 6x6x6 is perfect ashlar of Freemasonry and Philosopher's Stone. Number 216. A 6 by 6 by 6 is also produced of 3 by 3 by 3, 4 by 4 by 4, 5 by 5 by 5, the cubical number of perfect Pythagorean triangle C2A2B2. These ratios of 345 is ancient Egyptian symbol for Trinity of Osiris, Isis and Horus. Serpentine 419 Lion ARIH21631 Al, the god associated to chest and the key to Crowley's Liber Al 666. Trinity of Serpent female energy, Lion melee movement and Sun neutral individual life. Interesting, multiples of 3 multiplied by 37 repeating digits 1 times 3 are 1113 by 37 11 12 times 3 are 2226 by 37 2223 times 3 are 3339 by 37 3334 times 3 are 44412 by 37 4445 times 3 are 55515 by 37 5556 times 3 are 66,618 by 37 6,667 times 3 are 77,721 by 37 7,778 times 3 or 88,824 by 37. 8,889 times 3 are 99,927 by 37,999 divisors 108 has 12 divisors 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, 27, 36, 54, 108,216 has 16 divisors 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 12, 18, 24, 27, 36, 54, 72, 108, 200 216,360 has 24 divisors: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, 18, 20, 24, 30, 36, 40, 45, 60, 72, 90, 120, 180. 360,666 has 12 divisors: 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 18, 37, 74, 111, 222, 333, 666. Read more. Greater than. Please contribute your comments. PS1. The cosmological circle, symbol and instrument for universal harmony. The New Jerusalem diagram is also known as the cosmological circle. The cosmological circle is a geometric diagram that has appeared in the arts, crafts, architecture, religion and literature of cultures around the world, and is associated with their golden ages. Because it's the visual representation of the harmony naturally inherent in the structure of the numbers 1 through 12, it encodes the ideal patterns and proportions toward which nature's forms strive. It has been used as a symbol of universal harmony because it represents the complete order of the universe and thus is a microcosm appearing in the designs of cosmic temples and sacred spaces worldwide. It served as an eternal standard of reference, a pattern and instrument of statecraft for civilizations which were cosmologically ordered societies seeking to attract to their citizens happiness, blessings, justice and prosperity. Its proportions were used as an intelligent model for integrating weights and measures with human dimensions, and for sanctifying the earth with sacred architecture. NJ diagram. Squared circle as blueprint for Stonehenge and Native American Chetro-Ketl Kiva. Its dimensions are described as the heavenly city described in the Book of Revelation, seen in the plan of the Buddhist Borobudur Temple, Stonehenge, Glastonbury, and described as Plato's ideal city Magnesia. Its central squared circle plan is also found in the sizes and relationships among the Earth, Sun, and Moon. No one invented it, it's just the way the numbers naturally harmonize, providing the ideal towards which nature strives and humans have designed art and society. Worth a look. Constructing the cosmological circle teaches how to construct the diagram by the traditional geometric method using a compass and straight edge. The book also provides the background necessary to appreciate its geometry, symbolism, and appearances in art, architecture and literature around the world. Artists and architects will want to see how this model of harmony has been used in the past. Readers interested in symbolism and philosophy will find a key to understanding traditional wisdom teachings. This book is primarily based on the work of John Michel, who has explored and written about the New Jerusalem diagram and cosmological circle for over 30 years. The book is organized in 5 sections. The first, From Chaos to Cosmos, considers some ancient creation myths which describe mathematical aspects to the birth of the universe. Studying nature's order, its outbursts of truth reveals firsthand how the universe is organized and unfolds. Today, science, religion and mythology present differing views, although this wasn't always the case. All societies organize and comport themselves in accord with the cosmology they perceive. In the past, intentionally planned cosmologically ordered societies were formed. They are sometimes recognized by their deep interest in particular numbers which recur in the religion, literature, statecraft and the proportions of their monuments and buildings. They did this to resemble as closely as possible the harmony they perceived in nature's numbers at the heart of the universe and in themselves. Clouds and thunder, the image of difficulty at the beginning. Thus the superior man brings order out of chaos. I Ching Hua 3, Chan. The second section, called Geometers Heaven and Earth, looks at 2 shapes central to the sacred art, architecture and philosophy of cultures where universal order was a main interest. These shapes are the circle and square, worldwide symbols of eternally existing heavenly perfection and its transitory, material approximations. Circle and square are predominant in the cosmological circle diagram, so we benefit by understanding their geometry and symbolism. The heavens are round in shape like an open umbrella, while the earth is square like a chessboard. Chinese book Qin Shu 644. Of all the ways that the circle and square interact, the most interesting is the squared circle, where they have virtually the same perimeter or area. This next section, Squaring the Circle, looks at the geometry and history of this seeming impossibility. Symbolically, a squared circle signifies the meeting of heaven and earth, the ideal and the actual, which by definition are different. Cosmologically ordered societies often used squared circle geometry and they were sacred architecture to indicate that heaven and earth meet here. By looking at various examples, we'll gain insight into the geometry, history and symbolism of the squared circle at the center of the cosmological circle construction. We have compared the probability that an unknown savant has solved the problem of squaring the circle with the probability that there is one madman the more on the Earth. The latter appears to us the greater, the French Academy, in explaining why it would accept no more papers on circle squaring. The next section, Construct the Cosmological Circle, is the heart of this book. It guides the reader along illustrated step-by-step directions for constructing the cosmological circle with a compass and straight edge. Its steps are well worth pondering for the way they integrate different shapes and their proportions into one harmonious whole. Artists and architects may use the construction for creative projects. Some people will approach it as a meditative process and symbol. However, let us return and inquire further concerning the cosmos. After which of the models did its architect construct it? Now if it so be that this cosmos is beautiful and its constructor good, it is plain that he fixed his gaze on the eternal. Plato Timaeus 28b. The final section, called the number canon, removes the geometric mask and looks into the numbers at the heart of the cosmological circle. The way the 12 numbers combine and organize into an all-encompassing whole was the model for most of the ancient world as a macrocosmic representation of the harmonious universe. It was used as a standard for defining relationships among weights, measures, music and the proportions of sacred art and architecture. This section looks at some of the interesting numbers in the cosmological circle and their recurring appearances in various cultures and in nature. A tradition which has been credited by many learned men over the centuries is that the ancients encoded their knowledge of the world in the dimensions of their sacred monuments. They used an esoteric code of number, harmony and proportion which was supposed to reflect the perfectly structured mind of the Creator. John Michel. A bibliography lists some books and web pages useful for further exploration of the cosmological circle in mathematics, art and philosophy. The book is thoroughly illustrated with many quotations. It is printed double-sided, 115 pages. Constructing the Cosmological Circle. Table of Contents. Introduction. 4 From Chaos to Cosmos. 11 Cosmogony and Cosmology. 11 Chaos and Order. 13 Divine Geometer. 15 Mart. 18 Cosmologically Ordered Societies. 20 Geometers. Heaven and Earth. 28 Circle and Square. 28 The Heavenly Circle. 29 The Earthly Square. 32 Heaven and Earth together. 33 Square mediates between circles. 36 Squaring the Circle. 38 Pursuing the Impossible. 38 Earth and Moon square the Circle. 42 Stonehenge. 44 The Great Pyramid. 46 The Pantheon. 48 Native American Kivas. 49 Borobudur Temple. 51 Cosmati Pavement of Westminster Abbey. 52 Alchemical Fusion. 53 Construct the Cosmological Circle. 55 Step by Step the Number Canon. 81 Traditional. 12 83 Highly Composite Numbers. 85 Rhythms of Human and Celestial Bodies. 87 The New Jerusalem Grid. 88 720 91 Celestial Dimensions. 98 Heavenly Cities. 104 5040 107 Perimeters and Areas. 109 Bibliography. 115 PS 2 Teotihuacan. There are many other measurements which confirm that Teotihuacan was laid out in a 31 pattern, and more so, that this pattern is a reflection of the citadel's base perimeter measurements of 1320 by 1320, making the city comport to the duodecimal system of ancient metrology, having its sides as 1 3 2 6 and 6 6 3 6 per face. 6 faces of a cube. 216 something. Halston would be pleased to see 12 such cubes. 2592, and this 2592 is precisely the fractal of the Mazzaroth zodiac of 25,920 years, known, of course, as the Great Precessional. These 216s reflect the 12 constellations of the Mazzaroth Hebrew for zodiac, likewise, and my world mystery friends will appreciate this. The 216 is likewise the fractal of the Moon's diameter of 2,160 miles and forms the 12 circles of the New Jerusalem diagram made popular by Dr. John Michel of the Dimensions of Paradise fame, philosopher to the hippies, and, of course, this is to say nothing of the fact that it reflects the circumference of the entire nautical Earth at 21,600 nautical miles, 6,072 1 nautical mile, 21,600 nautical miles, there being 60 miles per 1 degree, 360 degrees, 21,600 nautical miles, and 6,072 21,600 nautical miles, 131,155,200 linear feet, 5,281 mile, 24,840 miles, which approximates the circumference of the Earth in statute miles. Read more here. TEOTIHUACAN, City of God or God's Resources. Please contribute your comments.